The Pressure Drop, Chapter 1. Although flights had resumed quicker than initially expected, it had still taken Steve several days to get a seat on one of the few flights heading home, enabling his escape from a city still gripped by an all-consuming fear. As the plane took off, he gazed down across a world much changed by the horrors. Although the dust cloud had now broken up, to an eye as familiar with the city as his, the gap in the skyline, which had taken no more than an hour to create, had quickly come to mean so much more than the concrete itself. And Steve knew that, like the skyline, he too had been immediately, permanently changed. Aside from himself, it was not just the view that had changed. He had left what had always been an energized and hedonistic city as one now engulfed in an unrepentant sense of terror. It was the sort of paralysis to normal life that was natural when heavily armed soldiers are visible on every street. An occupying force following a coup d'etat would have been less noticeable. The subways closed and then reopened as the unqualified alarms continued to come and then go with a predictable irregularity. No one felt safe, the anticipation of a further round of Armageddon always imminent. On video, the events which he had witnessed were represented in seconds, but in real life they had taken an eternity. His own slow-moving stagger through that eternity continually played out on repeat in his head. Steve could still touch the individual grains of dust as they rained down on him, and the unholy visions that had lodged in his mind's eye several days before refused to morph into a different view. He remained consumed by the shocked cries and sorrowful tears from the thousands of bystanders who had witnessed his own struggle. Whatever internal battle Steve was fighting, he still believed that no one could see past his thickest skin. He told himself that no one could see where he had been, and they'd never understand if they could. So just keep running, mate. Because then, when Steve had run far enough, it could start to be okay again. Out of sight, out of mind. He made an immediate vow to never return. As the plane veered northeast out over the vast expanse of sea, he took a moment to think of her. Instantly, a different source of pain washed over him, a set of painful waves of regret for what had gone on. He was paralyzed both in mind and body. She had been the one who had called him darling, and he had sent her away for no crime greater than trying to help. It had only taken him a moment to realize he needed help, her help, but by then she was gone. As his view of the city disappeared for a final time, he remembered what she had said to him, that everyone wants to be loved. That may have been the case once, but now Steve Lewis had no interest in being loved. From now on, he would be an island. Not those fun Mediterranean ones which were blanketed in sunshine and good times throughout the summer months. Those islands were the fun ones which he was used to visiting several times each year for long business weekenders, where he would be at the centre of the place where people travelled to, a place which made the tourists feel like life could be no better. No, he was not one of those islands. Now he would be the sort of island that struck up from the depths of the North Atlantic, onto which random fishermen would plant their flags in order to support their various intransigent claims of legitimacy to work the surrounding waters. There was nothing on those grey, lonely islands. They were desolate and depressing, as well as dangerous to everyone who tried to land. From now on, Steve would be Rockall. His was the wretched island on which no one would ever again want to plant their flag.